I haven't done a Duran video in a while. And seeing as that I'm trying to just get through the summer without losing the channel. If I can make it to September, I'm probably going to be okay, but that's a big if. That's why I started the second channel where I'm uploading just older videos to right now, because I expect to be over there. I've had, what, 6 community guideline strikes over the past 3 years? Or 5? Is it 5 or 6? 5. So I'm like really at the edge right now. Of course, none of them were for things I did, but you know, everyone in jail says they shouldn't be there either, so that's neither here nor there nor anywhere. But I just finished reading Please Tell Me Now, the Stephen Davis Duran book. The first rock book I ever read was Hammer of the Gods by Led Zeppelin, notorious rock biography. So I figured Stephen Davis, he's kind of a name, you know what I mean? He's a guy that's renowned for writing these type of things, so I figured it'd be pretty good, right? And I hadn't read it, you know, it's been up for a couple years, and so finally I did, and man, that is like, what it is basically is the history section from Duran Duran's Wikipedia. And that's it. And there's mistakes in it, which I'll talk about a few of them. And it just kind of goes down the whole story, like people, places, and events. That's it. I don't really remember Hammer of the Gods, but if memory serves me, and I think that's why the book became a bit notorious, no pun intended. Oh, let me get rid of this. What is going on? That's so not professional. Hang on. There we go. Sorry about that. It's about 60% better. The reason that book was kind of was known was because of some of these stories it had, like some of the kind of groupie stories and stuff like that. So I thought maybe there'd be stuff like that in this, or not like I was looking for lurid stories or anything, but there'd be a little bit more insight. Maybe possibly some stuff I didn't know, even though I found that unlikely, but at least maybe interesting kind of take. Or no, nothing like that. It's just almost like a straight Wikipedia read. It was really weird. It's almost like there was no kind of personality either from the guy. Like, usually there's some kind of, I mean, the prose was just very, very, just reading I don't know, like a booklet that would come with an album or something. Not even like that. And it was just like, I don't know if I could describe it any better than that. That was really it. You know, in 1984, in December of 84, the band released that. It was directed by the video was directed by so-and-so. It was the first time they'd been to this, and it's just all basic bitch bullshit Duran information. No real insight about anything. I can't remember if there's anything there that I picked up on. Oh, I guess I didn't really know much about Danny Sugarman's involvement with Andy Taylor getting a record deal. I guess that was kind of interesting. I guess he helped him get one. And it also mentioned that Thunder, when they talked about the release of Andy's first album, Thunder, that it didn't get any radio play. And it didn't. It's kind of weird, because prior to that, he had one real big hit with Take It Easy from a soundtrack, the Vision Quest soundtrack. Big song, especially on MTV. And then he did one from Miami Vice, Rain Comes Down, which was almost as big. It was on a lot. It was pretty good, got a lot of airplay. At least on MTV. You know, I was never really a radio guy, so I can't really say. Oh, and I Do What I Do was written by Michael DeBarge. I didn't know he wrote that. Chillingly, horrifyingly, Michael DeBarge follows me on Instagram. I've had some talks with him. He's a nice guy. But anytime anyone I like follows me on social media, it's horrifying, because the stuff I post, I mean, So I was just the other day, I noticed he liked something I posted, and he's still following me. That's kind of amazing. I'm surprised that he would, but he's a nice guy. I don't know what he thinks of the stuff I post on there, but so yeah, he wrote "I Do What I Do to Have You" from 9.5 Weeks by the John Taylor Soldier. I didn't know that either, but yeah, there's a couple, maybe a couple things in there that I said, that's interesting. Warren, I did find out about, I never realized, here's another thing, maybe this is something that a lot of fans probably would be surprised I didn't know, but I didn't know Warren was a cross-dresser. You know, as a former cross-dresser myself, I thought I would pick up on something like that, but no. But other than those things that jump out at me, as far as things that I might not have known, I don't know if there's anything else. There's certainly some mistakes there, and I'll get to that once I walk out of Ross, because I walked by Ross, and of course I have to go in. So I'll be right back. Thought I had something on my chin. This is a shadow. Looking weird shadow. So anyway, the some of the errors are just their time kind of errors. Like there's one point where they're talking about the release of the song "Serious" from Liberty in came out in 1990, and he's like, this song didn't do well on the British charts because this is 1990, and artists like Oasis, Blur, and Pulp are ruling the charts. It's like Oasis wasn't even formed in 1990. Never mind, like, I don't think, well, Pulp was, but they weren't in anyone's radar. Certainly didn't have hits. Same thing with Blur. So just there's quite a few of those weird timeline things, and songs appearing on the wrong album. You know, how you doing, man? The what is it? Big Thing. He says he's talking about all the songs on it. You know, Big Thing was released in something, you know, the Wikipedia type thing. And its songs were a mix of, you know, different styles of music. And he starts going down the songs, and he says that in Skin Trade, which was like a Prince style tune, like, it's not on that album. And he didn't mention Skin Trade when he was actually talking about the album it's on, Notorious. Then he did the same thing with, what's the other song that he said was on one album and wasn't on the other one? What the fuck? It's something like that. Was it one of the Medazzaland songs? He did that again. He put an album that's on another album onto another album. I can't think of what it is. When I'm editing, I'll put it up here though. Yeah, it's just like sort of rookie mistakes. Seeing as the whole thing just feels like you went to the history section of the fucking Wikipedia page, you would think at least those things were right. But I did appreciate that he at least, different from a lot of these things, he at least talked about every album, but nothing below the very surface details about it. You know, like where it was recorded, personnel, not like, no stories of any kind of thought process, or very few. Yeah, it was disappointing, man. Like, aside from those few things, like I would mention that I learned, I wasn't getting anything out of that. And I kind of noticed that early in reading this thing. But I thought, in the early chapters, I thought, well, it's going to pick up, we're going to get some kind of narrative or something. No, it just keeps going like this. It felt like an AI wrote it, you know? I don't know what the deal was, maybe, and I haven't been keeping track of Stephen Davis. I know he did the you know, Zeppelin one, but he did an Aerosmith one as well, I guess. But other than that, I don't know. But yeah, he's pulling this one in, like, you really won't. You certainly, if you're a fan of any kind of long-term or medium-term fan, you're not gonna learn anything from this. And it doesn't give a lot of insight. He lists like the guy's girlfriends that they change, the dates that happens, fucked up some of that too. Yeah, it was just like, it was a slog. It was a slog. He goes up until right before Future Past comes out, but outside of saying that they were working on new material, there's really nothing else about it. Like, there's, there's no insight. There's not a lot of insight to any of it. It's weird. It's weird. Because I remember seeing some reviews of it that were good, and I heard positive stuff about it. So yeah, I don't know. For me, it wasn't anything good. But I hung in there, and I was not rewarded for my hanging in there. It kind of paints Andy as kind of a bit of an asshole. I don't know, maybe he is. I read his book, and I read John's book. And when you hear Andy describe the same story, it just feels like, I don't know, it seems like it makes sense when he talks about the reasons things went down the way it did. And, I remember just thinking, well, that's logical. That's logical, And then on the John tip, John's book is, he's very dramatic, and kind of sensitive. And him and, Jesus, I just forgot Andy Taylor's name for a second. Him and Andy all have wildly different takes on the same story. I remember there was one story that they both talked about. This is like from 1985, early in the year, I think it was, where they're at some kind of party for something, some kind of awards maybe thing, and the Stones invited, according to Andy Taylor, they invited him to go down their studio. And in his book, John tagged along and just embarrassed the shit out of him because he was really fucked up and really drunk. And in John's telling of the story, Andy's not even there. And it went really well, and John stayed until the morning and had breakfast with them. So, I don't know. I mean, you got to remember too, but when it comes to John versus Andy, John was way more fucked up than Andy was. And even John says a few different times in not so many ways that he's not a super reliable narrator when it comes to a lot of history, which is kind of funny because, like, that's the idea of the book, right? But I liked his book. It was fun to read, and you definitely did get a little bit more insight onto what was going on in his head and his view of what was happening, the times he left the band. And Andy's book was good too. It was just different. It was like two completely different kind of guys. It was like, yeah, two sides of one coin. They're both musicians. They're married to this band, but very different perspectives, as one would think. But this thing, this Stephen Davis book, yeah, there's just nothing there. Like, sometimes there are people that will read these kind of rock books that aren't even huge fans of the band. They just, maybe a casual fan that thinks it would be interesting to read a biography. This ain't it for those people either. I don't know. I got to go back and look at some of the reviews for this, because I remember at the time when it came out, a lot of people were saying it was good, and those people were wrong. Those people are very, very wrong. I could write a better biography if I had to walk around out here doing it from memory in a series of videos. And seeing as I'm in so much trouble with YouTube, that would probably be the better way to spend the summer, doing stuff about that and not talking about anything else. Because, and even like if you as far as my regular videos, I get 24 views from out usually. And the Duran ones that I used to do, they're still up, get hundreds of views and thousands of views. The biggest viewed videos I got were Duran. So logic would dictate, if you wanted to do a YouTube channel, you'd just do that. But I don't care really about this. Not why I'm doing this. I think people think I'm kidding sometimes when I say stuff like that. Like, oh, I don't really care about views. I'm doing this for the, like, yeah, whatever. But there you go, right there. There's, you got to be all the evidence someone would need. You know, I mean, 2,000 views is a substantial difference from 2 dozen. But, yeah, and I've done a lot of Duran Duran. I do other bands and stuff too, but it's not primarily what I'm interested in talking about. This came up just because I read it. And yeah, it was a disappointment. What's up for them now on the horizon? Another album, maybe. The Halloween one was cool for like a weekend. You know, it didn't have any legs. I think the fact that they released it like the day before Halloween didn't help. Like, maybe, you know, if you're a fan who was really clued in, you might have been able to get it in time for one last party. Maybe it'll be like a perennial type thing when next year it'll be, you know, have some kind of legs around Halloween time. I think it was an interesting idea, and it was really well done. You know, I'd rather have a full studio album, but I like that Halloween album. It just didn't, you know, that it has a certain amount of, it doesn't have a huge appeal. I thought the cover tunes were better than the cover tunes they did on Thank You. Way better, you know. And, you know, there could be a lot of reasons for that. They're just in a better, I think, headspace at this time. I think when they were doing Thank You, they were still kind of confused as to what to do. Those were a confusing time, even though they just had that hit with the Wedding album. They still must have been, like, mind rattled. I mean, after going through the 80s, having this huge success, the highest top of the mountain, and then within a few years being told you're fucking done and everybody hates you, what does that do to your brain? I don't know, but yeah. So they've been doing better now. I mean, they're more respected now. They get the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and, you know, they seem to have just success after success here. So I think they're in a much better spot. And I don't know if that's what made or experience, who the fuck knows. I just think the versions are better. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Please tell us now, or please tell me now. It's a terrible name for a book too. Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan, I don't know. No, don't read. I was gonna say, if there's something, you know, no, you don't need to. You already know it all. I bet you know more than Stephen Davis, and you could probably write a better Duran Duran biography. And seeing as I'm trying to stay out of trouble this summer, I'll probably be doing more stuff on them. I got a Dan video coming up because they have a new thing coming out. But yeah, I'm going to probably be doing more music stuff. And I'm uploading a lot of the older videos on Channel 2. Stuff that when I first put out like a couple years ago just went unnoticed. And some of it's not bad. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for dropping by. Always appreciate you giving me your time. I hope to be worthy of it. And till next time, as always, don't blame the teacher, blame the school. Yay!